This right here is episode one of Hired with Intention series. Now, before we get into today's topic, I want to tell you why I created a series. Every time I sit with people, talented people, qualified, experienced people who are struggling in their job search, and when we dig into what's really going on, it's almost never about their resume. It's never about their qualifications. It is about something deeper. And I felt like those conversations needed to reach more people. So here we are. If this is your first time on this channel, please subscribe because this series builds on itself. And I really do not want you to miss any of it. And if you know someone who is right in the middle of a job search right now, share this with them. It might be exactly what they need to see. So let's get into it. And here's the idea that sits at the center of this whole episode. Your job search is a mirror, and what is reflecting back to you is how you see yourself. Now, if I want you to think about something, think about the last time you were scrolling through job postings and you came across one that caught your eye. Maybe it was a level up from where you are, or it was a company that you really admired and want to work for. And before you finished reading the job description, something inside you said, "That's not for me." And you kept scrolling. That has happened before, right? Yeah. So I want to ask you, what was that? What is it in the job description that disqualified you? Or was it something inside you that made that decision for you first? Because this is what I've seen over and over again in my coaching work. The roles we apply for, the language we use to describe ourselves, whether we follow up after an interview or just wait and hope, all of it all of it is the data about how we see ourselves. And when we see ourselves as less than, as not quite ready, not quite Canadian enough, not quite experienced enough, that shows up everywhere, even in places we don't notice. So today we are going to start noticing because you cannot change what you don't see. Let's talk about imposter syndrome and the way it actually lives in real life. Imposter syndrome is that voice that says, "I'm not ready." It's the one that tells you to wait. Wait until you have one more certification, one more year of experience, one more thing that makes you feel like you've earned the right to try. It is incredibly convincing and it is incredibly common. I have experienced it myself. The other day, I was sharing the story with someone that it took me 5 years from the time I qualified to get my HR designation in Canada to when I actually decided to put in the application. It took me 5 years because I felt I did not have what it takes. I have sat across from accomplished people who told me they didn't feel qualified enough. I have worked with people who have led entire departments, managed millions of dollars budgets, built programs from the ground up, but they still came to me saying, "I don't know if I'm good enough for this role." So if you feel this, please hear me. You're not alone and you're not unusual. But here's the thing about imposter syndrome, it is not the truth, it's a story. It's a story your brain tells you to keep you safe because putting yourself out there, being evaluated, possibly being rejected, that's uncomfortable. And your brain does not like you to be uncomfortable. So it just says, wait. It's just that voice in your head that says, no, don't go. It's safe here. Stay where it's safe. And the problem is that safe does not move you forward. Safe keeps you exactly where you are. So the first step, the very first step is to name it. Name it. When you hear that voice in your head that says, "I'm not ready," say it back. Yes, thank you for telling me that you're not ready, but I am ready. Thank you for wanting to keep me safe, but I am ready and I'm ready to go after what I want. That is a feeling, and feelings are not always the truth. So when you hear that voice, it's not the truth. You don't have to silence it completely. You just need to acknowledge it, take it in, and then move forward. Appreciate it, acknowledge it, and then move forward. You just have to stop it from letting it make decisions for you. The second thing I want to talk about today is what I call the comparison trap. And this one is particularly close to home for a lot of people I've worked with. Immigrant professionals, internationally trained people, career changers, women re entering the workforce after time away. And this is what it looks like. You open a job posting, you start reading, and before you even finished the first paragraph, your brain is already constructing a picture of who they really want. And that picture looks nothing like you. It's could be in your head someone who was born here, educated here, has a name that's easy to pronounce, has never had a gap in their resume, has 15 years of unbroken Canadian work experience, and then you close the tab. Now, I want to be honest with you. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that bias is not real during hiring or it doesn't exist. It does, and I've seen it. I've worked in HR long enough to know it's real. But are you responding to actual evidence that this employer is biased against you? Or are you responding to a story that you're telling yourself before you have even given them any chance at all? A wise person once told me, don't reject yourself until they reject you. What's happening there is a comparison trap. You have invented a candidate that you are competing against, and you created this person in your head, this perfect person, and then you measured yourself against them and decided they would win, all in your head. You pre rejected yourself, and the hiring manager never even saw your name. You did not allow the employer to make their decision. Meanwhile, it's their job to make that decision. Your job is to put your best self forward and let the process play out. Do not do their job for them, even before the process plays out. When you look at a role that you genuinely want and you decide not to apply, because you've already decided you won't get it, you're making a decision about your own worth. You're saying, I don't deserve a real shot at this. Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Let that sink in. And when you don't take that shot, what it means is that the employer never gets to meet you. They never get to read your story. They never get to decide for themselves. You made the call for them before they even saw your name. Now think about how many roles have gone that way. How many times you've talked yourself out of something before it even got started. The promotion you watched someone else get. The promotion you watched someone else get because you never put your hand up. The company you've been following on LinkedIn for 2 years but never reached out to. The role that you felt was just too ambitious for you. And you told yourself, maybe next year. I want to ask you something honestly. Who gave you the permission to decide on the employer's behalf? Who said that was your call to make? Getting rejected by an employer who actually reviewed your application is data. It's a data you can work with. But self rejection, it gives you nothing and it keeps you stuck. So, this is how you're going to reframe it and tie everything together today. You can save the slide, you can write it down, you can keep it, you can take a screenshot and keep coming back to it because this is what changes everything. Most people go into a job search in hope mode. Hope is beautiful and I love hope. But when hope is the only energy you're carrying into a job search, it puts you in a passive position. It makes you a passenger in your own process. The shift I want you to make is this: you're not just a candidate hoping to be selected, you are also making a selection. You have skills, experience, values, a way of working, a life. And you're deciding where those things belong. You're evaluating whether this company, this team, this role, whether it's somewhere you can try. That's a legitimate and important part of the process. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Folashade, I just need to get a job. I'm not in a position to be picky. And I hear that. I really do. But I want you to know that this shift is not about being picky. It's about the energy you carry into the process. There's a version of you that walks into an interview thinking, please speak me. And there's a version of you that walks in thinking, let me see if this is somewhere I can do great work. Those two people are completely different. So, wrapping everything up, your action steps this week. Find one role you've been scrolling past and telling yourself is not for you, and read the full job description, all of it, without narrating over the top of it, without your brain running ahead of to all the reasons you don't qualify. Just read it. And as you read it, I want you to notice what's actually happening inside of you. So, after noticing all of that, think about what's coming up for you. And remember, if it is that voice that keeps telling you you're not good enough, what do you say? You acknowledge, you thank it, and you move on from there. Thank you very much. And once again, please like this video, share, and subscribe so that when I drop new episodes, you get to see them.